Hello and welcome to today's video. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you will find today's video interesting as we will be doing something a little bit different today. I have received my Daniel Smith watercolor sticks and I've been playing around with them ever since I got them, and I'm really excited about the colors and the sticks in general because it's something new that I've never tried before, and I was dying to see how they would perform. I got a little overwhelmed with all the possibilities, and I just tried so many different things, and I could not settle for anything that I liked and that I found worthy of showing. So I sat down again and I wanted to just put the colors down. Now, I bought 11 colors. Unfortunately, not all of them will work really well together, nor did I want to use all of them, but I used, I think, 4 or 5 different colors, plus a purple that I already had in the tube form. I completely forgot to wet the back of my paper, and so as you can see, it's curling a little bit and causing me to have to hold it down and hold it in place. So note to self, next time, don't forget to wet the back of the paper so that it will flatten out again. So the colors I used for this background was the cobalt teal blue, the sap green, and then I used Prussian blue and the rich green gold. I thought I had used some of the yellow, the Hansa yellow medium, but I didn't think I used that one until later. And the purple was the Carbazole violet, which I love. That's a really beautiful purple. I could have used a little bit more water on the paper, but I was afraid it was going to get too muddy. So this was a little bit of an experiment for me. So I'm adding a little bit more water just to keep the colors moving, because later on I want to put some saran wrap over it. So as you can see, I am just dabbing colors on. I want it to feel loose and I want it to have a nice combination of colors once they mix together. Other than that, I didn't really have a plan on how it should look. I just wanted some nice areas of colors that hopefully would blend well together later on. Also, I found it quite relaxing because I knew I didn't have to use this background for a doodle background, so I was a little bit more bold with how I applied the colors. I'm just going in and intensifying the colors a little bit more, especially the lighter ones, because I wasn't quite sure how they would dry. The paper could have definitely be a little bit more wet, and I think had the back side of the paper been wet, it would have been easier to keep it at a wet enough but not too wet background. So later on you see me spray a little bit more water in the corners because I just wasn't excited about how the colors on the corners were drying or were mixing in with each other. I will definitely try this again because I really love how the end result looks. So here I'm just trying to add a little bit more water, and now I am letting it dry. I was gonna come back later, but then it got too late and I didn't have time anymore to play with it. So this is the next morning as I am checking it out and seeing how these colors turned out. I just love those color combos together. So now I want to outline some of those shapes a little bit more, and for that I am using my new set of Caran d'Ache watercolor pencils. I got those last time I went to Switzerland, and I decided to treat myself and bring those home with me. You can use any kind of watercolor pencil, of course, if you decide to try this for yourself. Of course, I could have used just watercolors for this as well, but I thought it was a good opportunity to bring out my colored pencils. Plus, they look so beautiful. So as mentioned, I am trying to find some shapes and I want to outline them and I want to bring them a little bit more to the forefront. And then I went in and just smoothed the edges out a little bit more. This is such a fun technique and I don't nearly do it often enough because I just didn't really have an opportunity before, but because I'm a little bit more in an experimental phase lately and I want to try out new things other than watercolors and doodles, I decided to bring this one back. Looking at this as I am editing it, it almost reminds me of dragonflies a little bit. And I don't know if it's the colors that I chose or the way I outlined certain spots. But yeah, it's funny how I don't see it while I'm working on it, but then as I am editing the footage, I can see certain things pop out a lot more. I definitely didn't have anything specific in mind while I was doing it. I was just glad I found something that I could finish and that had the potential for me to be finished. So once I realized where it was going and that I liked the color combination, it was so much easier to focus and continue working on it. So now I'm just smoothing out the edges around it a little bit more, and then I'm going in with the white acrylic paint, which I have diluted with water, and I want to emphasize the lines within the shapes a little bit more, almost as if they were rocks of some sort. And if you want to try this for yourself and you don't have acrylic paint, don't go out and buy anything. If you have a white pen, you can do it with a white pen. Or if you have gouache, you can do it with gouache. You can even probably use white watercolors. I probably could have worked a lot longer on this, shading and intensifying and really bringing those shapes out much more. But after having started and stopped so many times, I just didn't have it in me anymore. I was just happy that it looked the way it looked. But let me talk a little bit more about the sticks. Because I bought them separately and not in a set, they came loose, meaning they came in just a cardboard box. And I know when you buy sticks, sometimes they come in little containers, which I was hoping I would get, but I didn't. So I might have to investigate and see if I can buy those separately, because that way I can also then label the boxes and put them back in the box and know which color it is. Because I have a feeling that once I work more with them and I use up the sticks, the color info is gonna get lost. And what am I gonna do then? So I need a plan for the future. I want to say thank you to Ali List Art, who left a comment on my last video saying that I should try and use them from the bottom up so that I can keep the color name as long as possible. So that is definitely a good idea, and I was trying to do that as I was working with this one, but I kept forgetting. So I think if I put a conscious effort into making sure which end I'm using, I think that would be an excellent idea. Other than that, those colors are just what I had hoped they would be. They performed beautifully. The pigmentation is amazing. I just am so in love with the Daniel Smith watercolors that I can't seem to find anything bad to say about them. And you definitely get your money's worth with it. And them being sticks, I can see them last for a very long time. So I was trying to figure out what else to put on this, because I knew I didn't want to use it for doodles. And then I remembered my obsession with my alcohol ink leftover papers that I have been hoarding. I have square ones and odd shaped ones, but I also punched out some regular round shapes in different sizes. And because the watercolor shapes are irregular, I decided that the round shapes would be perfect for this. And also I can play with the colors that are already on the page, and I can intensify those areas with those colors a little bit more. And also it almost looks like little gems, and I could even see putting resin on top of those to have them pop up a little bit more. That would be super fun. So there's definitely a lot of room for play and figuring out what else I could do with this technique. I definitely need to figure out better tools for this, because the way I did it was a little bit tedious. So if you are not into sitting there and working on this for hours, I don't suggest you attempt anything like this. For me right now, I just used Elmer's glue and my dotting tool that has a little bit of putty at the end so that I could pick up the little circles a little bit easier. Because as you can see, I also have some teensy weensy ones that I am trying to place. And just for that alone, I feel like I need either super fine tweezers or a better picking up tool. Overall though, I kind of enjoyed the process, and I could definitely see myself trying this again. It just lends for a lot of opportunities to play, and that's what I love about it. Look how beautiful that looks. I'm adding some acrylic gold with my dotting tool just to fill in some of the spaces that I couldn't fit any other circles in. I could have sat there for hours and just trying and find the right shade of alcohol ink circles to put down. It was such a good little activity for me at that point. But I also realized that it needed to be finished so that I could edit all the footage and post it for Friday's video. So I knew I had to stop it already and just get on with it. But I really liked how the gold dots finished the piece. And then I also went in with a very fine marker, a black marker, and added some teensy tiny dots with the marker in between as well. And I could have used the black acrylic paint that I normally do, but there was enough texture already on it that I think it would have just been a little bit too much at that point. And even though I don't like stippling with the pen, this wasn't bad at all. I am so happy with how this turned out. I love the colors. I love the addition of the circles. I really want to explore this a little bit more. I love the way it looks like a mosaic, two different types of mosaics even. It lends for so much more creativity. So I hope you enjoyed this video today. Stay creative wherever you are in the world, and I will see you next week.